Hey guys, thanks for clicking on this video. Today we're going to be looking at GameStop and we're going to be talking about its potential inclusion into the S&P 500 and what that means for GameStop, the MOAS, and basically everything in between. So let's have a look at GameStop's price today. You can see we have been up just 0.25%, up to $213.52. So that isn't too bad at all. If you look at the day chart, it has been pretty all over the place. On the low side, $206. On the high side, $214. So this has been pretty up and down. I thought we were going to have a negative day today. I was waiting to post this video, but because we are in the green, I think it's a good enough reason to post a video. That is very good to see. Also, we're going to look at the reverse repo number. This is from yesterday. From today. 1.066 trillion. So not an all-time high. The number has decreased slightly, but we're still in the trillion range, which was something that we couldn't have said even just a couple of months ago. So September has been nothing but trillions, so that is good to see. Ignore the fact it's only been the 2nd of September. Right, let's have a look at these articles. This is a very quick one on Seeking Alpha, which is GameStop and the S&P 500 index. It's complicated. So GameStop trades with a larger market cap than many of the companies listed in the S&P 500, but this may not get the index call up later this year, despite the retailer's hefty 15 billion market cap, not 1.15, 15 billion, and a liquid trading status. Some recent and unprofitable quarters could keep the stock off the key index. A committee at the S&P Dow Jones indices will ultimately make the decision on GME sometime later in the year. Entrance to the S&P is both a combination of art and science, goes the National Securities Corp chief market strategist Art Hogan. GameStop was dropped from the S&P 500 in 2016. So that is just a very quick article. And this is an article from the Wall Street Journal that I'm going to go through, which is brought to us by archive.org for free, so that's good. But just before we get into this, can you please give a like on the video? Got 100 last time. Really helped me out on that video. Got loads of people, so I just want to say thank you very much for that, and hopefully this video will too. Anyway, so I just want to point out some of the highlights on this video. I just want to point out some of the highlights of the GameStop stock. Possible return to S&P 500 hands of anonymous committee. They have a considerable discretion over which companies include in the most widely watched equity index. That's for sure. I have most of my money in the S&P 500 and the rest of it in GME. So I think I'm nicely hedged no matter what happens. Individual investor dollar in GameStop is now 3 times as valuable as the smallest S&P 500 stocks, thanks to a sharp run up in August. Some traders betting the GameStop could take another leap if the S&P Dow Jones indices adds the stock to the S&P 500 when it's rebalanced this year. I think we would all agree that that would be great news for GME in the long term. In the short term, we would probably actually see some negative price movement. Whenever GameStop has been included in any of these indices, hedge funds have been shorting those ETFs immediately, causing some negative pressure on the stock. But anyway, as said before, unlike it's a bit difficult to get in the S&P 500, unlike indices including the Russell 2000, the S&P 500 is constructed by a committee of human beings, which I did not realize. These are full-time staffers at the S&P and Dow Jones indices and are kept anonymous. Anonymous to you and I would imagine. I imagine people do know who these are. Look at the year-to-date performance of GameStop versus the S&P. This is the S&P. This is our boys at GME. What a hell of a stock, and it's rising even still. So once again, we won't be reading that part because what we went through before. This means even companies that meet the requirements for inclusion do not necessarily have a quick or easy ticket for the index. At first glance, GameStop may seem a possible contender. We're up tenfold in the year, well above the S&P. GME was dropped originally, but it was included in the S&P 600 and 400, which I did videos on at the time. It's a highly liquid stock with at least 250,000 shares being traded in the previous 6 months. Sorry, at least 250,000 of its shares haven't been traded in the previous 6 months, and it has enough to fill that requirement. So that is interesting. Now they are saying that companies must have a positive earnings for the most recent quarter, and the sum of the past 4 quarters must be positive. And GameStop did do some losses on the first 3 quarters, but obviously 2020 was a difficult year for GameStop as a company because of obviously the lockdowns and the pandemic. But GameStop's earnings have been improving over time, but they're just not positive as of yet. Here's a pretty telling remark that I saw. This is Nicholas Colas of Data Trek Research, he thought the S&P Index Committee would be leery of putting GameStop or any so-called other meme stocks in 2020, as if meme stock is a dirty word. Shame on you, Nicholas Colas. The biggest reason its valuation isn't supported by fundamentals. Well, if that's the case, then we need to get Tesla out, because Tesla isn't supported by fundamentals. But one thing that GameStop is supported by is a group of solid investors who care about the stock, and obviously the fact that the hedge funds have created billions and billions of synthetic shares, dropping the price, and the short squeeze will be imminent. So obviously we don't have a valuation of fundamentals per se at the current time. Obviously people are very bullish on GameStop's future, but the valuation should be supported by the fact that if it wasn't for these shorting hedge funds, we would have a price that would probably be a lot higher than the 480 that we saw, but because all the brokerage turned off, the price then dropped. So not supported by fundamentals, fair enough, but we are supported by many other very key factors. So closing, ultimately the Index Committee would probably want to see GameStop improve and maintain its market capitalization for a longer stretch of time before including it in the S&P 500. I would agree with that, and I think with the way that with the DD that we've seen, this price isn't going anywhere down in the short term. I think even with the pressure from hedge funds, they are fighting a losing battle, which is definitely swinging in our favor, as you can see by the more recent price movements. While the company made checks most of the boxes, it is hard to know how long it will be the case for. Why does the inclusion matter? Well, the S&P is often cited by investment professionals as their go-to gauge for share performance of large US companies and the health of the US economy. Some 13.5 trillion is either indexed or benchmarked the index, and according to Dow Jones indices, meaning that what goes into the S&P 500 has ramifications for money managers globally. New entrants to the S&P often experience brief share price boosts after being added to the index. The research suggests that gains are fleeting. Well, I'll tell you what, if GameStop gets included in the S&P 500, I would imagine some negative price, because whenever we expect some good news, or when there is good news and we expect some good bullish moves in terms of being included in indices or improving earnings, GameStop always takes a very suspicious drop down. So, but we all know the reason for that. It's got nothing to do with investors selling. It's to do with shorting pressure from you know who, you know where. Right, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Give a like, as I said down below. Your likes really help me out and keep this channel growing. And in return, I can keep on expanding. As you can see, I've got a camera set up. I've got a new mic. Hopefully you can see some difference. I would point the camera at the mic, but I can't. It's a HyperX, one of those gaming mics, so it's quite cool. And obviously we've got the light. I can tell it's not the best quality, but the more that this channel grows, the more I can put back into this channel and really bring the best quality content that I can, because it's a small operation, as you can tell, but I'm really passionate about this and I'm going to keep on going. Right, guys, yeah, give a comment down below on your thoughts on the S&P 500 and what you think that means for GameStop. And yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Catch you guys next time.